One of the stamps has a stanza from the poem For the Fallen by Lawrence Binyon, and that was actually a really, really famous poem that has come to symbolise the First World War for a lot of people, and has actually used in Remembrance Day services ever since, really. But that was actually a poem that he wrote very, very early in the First World War, in the first month or so, and it was actually published in the Times in September. So it's quite unusual in being a very reflective poem, and a poem that you'd associate with reflecting back on the conflict as a whole, but was actually written right at the very beginning of it and has become so symbolic of the First World War. Another of the stamps features a memorial called the Response, which is in Newcastle upon Tyne, a war memorial that was unveiled in 1923, but is actually quite unusual in depicting a scene from the very early point of the war in 1914, because it has a sculptural piece illustrating the thousands of men joining up in the local area into the armed forces, and it's unusual in not having quite such a sort of a less poignant memorial. It's slightly more celebratory in tone than is sometimes typical of lots of war memorials. So it's quite an interesting piece, and something that obviously still stands in Newcastle today as a local symbol. There's also a stamp that features the Princess Mary gift box. This is a really sort of iconic object of the early points of the war. These were little Christmas gifts that were produced under the sort of the sponsorship of Princess Mary, the daughter of King George V. And they were little gifts that were sent to all of the troops that were serving in the armed forces at Christmas 1914. And they included things like, particularly for smokers, lots of men smoked in that period of time. So a lot of the gifts included cigarettes, tobacco, things like that would give them a little morale boost at Christmas time. Those that didn't smoke would have a gift box that had writing material, so that they could write back to their family and friends. So these were really sort of symbolic of that early points in the war, and something that was handed out to soldiers to just give that little bit of a morale boost at a difficult time.